You're listening to Polymatic.media, episode 64 for January 2020. Welcome to the Polymaticast. Hey, John, how's it going?
Pretty good. How about you, Alan?
Well, it's a new month, it's a new year, so things are new. New decade as well. Well, technically.
No, I don't want to hear about it. It's a new decade. Who cares?
Yeah. So things are newer, I hope. A lot of things are still the same. But yeah. So yeah. Yeah. I don't know where to begin. So I saw Star Wars. That's it. I saw that last night finally.
We'll talk a little bit about Star Wars in a minute, but
yeah.
Last episode I had to do a lot of editing on the audio department.
Curbing the conversation a little bit.
No, not just that. It's just also the headphone noises.
Oh, right.
Because I could hear myself really clearly on your end. So I hope this time I don't have to do that.
Yeah. So, on my end, I improved with, this new soundboard, right? So it records every channel discreetly and dumps it out. But the sort of environmental things that get picked up on mics are things like headphones, right? And so you can wear earbuds that, isolate sound pretty well from the microphones. And in this case, in the sort of the studio atmosphere, each of these microphones are not isolated from each other. So when other people are in the room, they're going to get picked up, environmentally, like headphones. So the old ones I had picked up. They always picked up. But that is always a gripe from John.
Headphone noises. Why do I keep hearing myself on your channel?
Yeah.
Especially if I'm extra loud, then and he's picking up a
I'm picking up so as a result of it, gifts to myself, and generally this has been sort of an ongoing saga for me, is finding good headphones that I like that aren't so there's all kinds of headphones. There's the kinds you listen to. And then there's the kinds that are meant for studio, right? So your Beats headphones are great for listening to mastered, listening to music, listening to podcasts, but don't engineer with them. If you do, you're doing yourself a disservice and everyone else who's also not listening to Beats headphones, a great disservice. So that's why it's sort of an ongoing saga with me, is finding a good headphone that I like, where my ears aren't extra sensitive to it, and not getting too extra sensitive about the EQ change has always been sort of an issue. So finding headphones for me has always been a saga.
Headphone Quest 2020.
Yeah. So I got, because I know you're gonna ask me, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna ask you which ones you got.
So I didn't know, because it's an ongoing saga, and the cost wasn't. I mean, I spent some money. I do invest on the audio gear here in the studio. I mean, I don't want to say to an extreme state, but I mean, I did just buy a very expensive board recently. So, I make gradual iterative improvements. So I bought on general recommendation, just searching on the web, I bought the Sennheiser, whatever, HD 280 Pros. They're comfortable. They are pretty much a standard bearer. I think they have a new revision for this model now already out, and that's not what I bought. The sound is okay on them. Comfort is good. I don't know how they test in terms of sound isolation. If you give me a sec.
You haven't tried that yet?
I did. I just hadn't really spent a lot of time with them. Then I bought the Sony MDR 7506 professional headphones, which are the ones I'm wearing now. And they're comfortable. I think the sound's better. They are definitely, I think, more expensive. And then I bought, just out of I saw some interesting review on it. There's these headphones called Direct Sound. I think they're meant for, I want to say, extreme drummer. I don't see any model number on them. I'd have to look at my Amazon order.
Yeah.
But they're really meant to be like super isolated from everybody. And they totally grasp, sort of cover the ear pretty well. And I'll look up the order during our conversation. I'll give you that info if you're curious about it. But so those are 3 things that I bought, and I've settled on the Sonys right now. And I think certainly it's been an improvement as far as I can tell. But I won't know until we finish this conversation and I hear the audio from it. So.
And until I hear it.
Yeah, or don't hear it.
So the Sennheisers are Polymatic Link /S7, and the Sonys are Polymatic Link /S8.
Okay, and then the Direct Sound EX29 dynamic closed back. I don't know.
What was the Direct Sound what?
Direct Sound EX29. So it's taking me a moment because my ears are, I don't know that my hearing is perfect, but I hear pretty well. So I'm very sensitive to certain frequencies. I'm usually sensitive to all the frequencies. So the last ones that I had were comfortable. They were reasonably inexpensive at the time that I bought them. They're perfectly fine for, in-studio use. They are probably, I would say, not great engineering headphones for studio engineering or mastering your music. They're one of those headphones that are meant for listening to. They had a little extra bass in them or whatever, treble EQ. That's kind of what the Beats do. They're not bad speakers. They're just EQ adjusted so that everything sounds bassier, has treble, has separation on it. But they're not necessarily the worst of, speaker technology. They're just not as good as the price rings out, right? Your Sennheiser, your Shure, your Sony are always going to do a better job, in my opinion, when it comes to speaker technology.
Yeah.
But studio headphones are designed not to be EQ'd and pick up a farther, wider range of frequencies from the low to the top. So that's kind of important, but then that also means that when I'm wearing these headphones, I hear things that I wasn't hearing before with these things, and it's not unique to it being a new board or anything. This is the same mic I've been using for a while. So, don't know, but it's interesting that before I was intentionally putting headphones on that had sort of a resistance on them and were designed in a certain manner, not to pick up some of those higher frequencies. And now I can totally hear a lot of stuff. I can hear conversations, I couldn't hear before upstairs or near next door, or pick up environmental stuff from people, cars driving by, more than I could if I was to take them off. So,
yeah. So the last set was the Direct Sound EX29 headphones and the Polymatic Link /S9, which will take you to the Amazon store. I couldn't find a direct link to it, so at least not within a couple of seconds.
Right. I mean, that's where I bought it from. I bought all 3 that way. So I spent a little chunk of change. I mean, they're all, I think, on average, $100+ headphones. These aren't the kinds of things you're going to take on your train or travel with.
Yeah.
These aren't your noise canceling. Like I said, these aren't meant for listening to master playback. These things are designed for you to record with. And also part of their design is they literally cup your ear, and then additionally try to, make sure that there's very little sound leak. Doesn't mean it's incapable of that happening, but that's part of its design. So,
Yeah, I try to keep you in a low volume so nothing leaks out on my track from your end. You like to talk, so yeah, makes a lot of noise. Did you how did the gifting go?
Oh, yeah, that went pretty well. So I got Vic's wife, Amanda, I got her a Snorlax. The concern I had going into it was that I had these big. So when I ordered it from Amazon, I ordered the thing and then I ordered the recommended sort of stuffing. And the stuffing
Yeah.
was basically bean bag filling.
Yeah.
So these two huge boxes arrived. I mean, literally like 4 feet tall boxes. And so getting that into the car and getting that over to Jersey, I was concerned it was going to fit in the car. So we, plus also my additional concern was that what I bought Amanda was a Snorlax plushie, basically a beanbag. So, I was concerned that the cats are going to I don't like this, scratch, 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 beanbag filling all over the place. So we had to kind of construct it. We got it there, and she flipped her lid, and then the filling up with the bean bags was kind of a incredible mess. But surprisingly, there was well coordinated set of individuals figured out how to fill the thing up. And then she's like, Alan, go upstairs into my sewing room and bring down the 20-pound box of pillow stuffing. And so we stuffed it some more, and
It was not enough.
No, it was enough. But she's like, oh no, the paws we could. So she started routing the pillow stuffing stuff into the paws and bits of the head, and then on the bottom of it, and fluffed it up some more. And then she proceeded to find a corner in the main area where the projection screen was and her switch, and she basically lived in that corner for 2 days. And then eventually
it was a good gift then.
Yeah, then it made itself in front of the projection screen at the base of one of the tables, and then Vic sat down into it. And then I was like, I'm waiting for Inception to happen. And he's like, what do you mean? I said, I'm waiting for you to take the robotic cattail pillow that I gave you, the Kubo or whatever it is. It's like, I can imagine you stroking this thing while it's wagging while you're on the Snorlax. And then that happened. So, yes, these were good gifts. So the gifting went well for the most part, I think. Yeah.
Okay. I gave my parents and my brother a lock-picking set for Christmas.
Yeah, how'd that turn out?
Yeah, pretty well. They were like into it. They didn't know how to do it yet, but I gave them some videos how to start training with that. But I haven't seen them lockpick anything yet, but at least they were happy with it.
That's cool.
And over Christmas, my internet kind of broke. I have a Fritz box, which is like a router thing for what we have over here. It's used by Access for All, which is the internet provider I have, and turns out that the thing had been on the Fritz for a while. I couldn't get back into it. I rebooted it from the console, then tried to log back in, and it wouldn't work. So I had to power cycle it, and then I couldn't log into it anymore. So yeah, that was fun.
That's not good.
No, definitely not good.
Did they do some kind of update and it got bricked?
No, I don't think so. I think it was just really broken. The Wi-Fi on it had been a bit problematic, but after the reboot, I couldn't get back into the Wi-Fi anymore. I eventually reset a new password, but I couldn't get back into the Wi-Fi area. It was just didn't work. And then eventually I could, after the second factory reset, and then it kept re-logging me out every single time. So yeah, that was fun. Yeah, so eventually I had a spare one lying about. I bought one a while ago and put it in its place, and yeah, so I had to do with half the speed for about a week until after Christmas, and then I had to reinstall the other one.
Was it a matter of, so like in this house, right, I have one that is for the ISP, but I don't rely on it to provide it's I don't use its Wi-Fi or anything
Yeah.
like that. Right, I sort of run it right out the back of the Ethernet right into another set where I control the network internally in the house.
Mm-hmm.
So through all the devices. So I don't use that at all. And it has a gig Ethernet on the back of that.
Yeah.
So I'm solid in that respect. From that point of networking. So you're not talking about like a second degree. You're talking about the actual ISP.
Yeah, because these things are really good. They're really good normally, but when they break, they break.
Right.
But you have access to it, so it's not like it's an ISP. You can only log in with the password they provided, and no. It's you can completely control the whole thing. If you want to change the settings, you can change the settings.
Yeah, the particular ISP that I have here, they don't really care too much. But you connecting up to the fiber isn't like, oh, here's an Ethernet and you're good. Like it is, but they also pay attention to the ID, the identifier information on the back of the router. So that's in the system. That's how it allows me to have access to the rest of the fiber network. So it isn't, I have access to it, and I went in there and I configured it. I did all the things I wanted to do. I changed the password and all the defaults, locked it down, and then I connected it up, wired it up. So I'm sure that they have done, updates. And it's still working.
Back to normal.
It's still working, and but I know that my Wi-Fi or anything isn't open.
So. Well, we have over here we have just normal DSL, and then we have VDSL, which is like 2 lines. It's the bonded pair thing. It basically means that I have 220 down, 60 up ish.
Okay.
For network speed, so that's fine enough, good enough for me. I can stream. That's basically all I care about. So yeah, and uploading stuff is reasonably fast enough. But I'd rather have like some fiber or something. That'd be much nicer. But I live in an apartment building, so that's it's gonna take a while for me to get fiber.
Yeah, we didn't have any real choice here for a long while, and then fiber came about. And in this neighborhood, I don't know, there might be, my brain wants to say there's 20 of us here, maybe a little more over 20 houses here. And I think there's only 2 of us that are using fiber. So most people I don't care. I got all my things. I don't care. The other thing is I'm paying for so little for a lot. And I don't think, can you see that?
Yeah.
And so, I mean, that's pretty good. And you can see the upload is much better than the download. That's always going to be the case. But that would be a great application for me to stream stuff. But I don't really stream. So.
Well, you don't need a very big pipe to upload.
Sure, but if you want to do some high quality stuff.
But even for Twitch, right? You can't set the stream to uncompressed, because if you do that, Twitch is just gonna take you offline.
Sure, I understand that. I'm talking more of the perspective of wanting to put not low quality video with the idea that maybe I'll rig up down here. I'm sure at some point I'm going to collect more cameras, and then they'll be capable of me hooking up to a live switcher and then, doing streaming through that. And some kind of solution related to that. But that's lots of money I don't have right now to spend. So it's not a priority for a thing that's not going to turn profit for me to pay for its costs. So.
And I did a release this week for our piece of code for work.
Yeah.
And after like I spent most of the night working on putting it live. It wasn't like it was difficult or anything. I just want to be very methodical about it and just do this first, then do that. I had a whole plan, so I did all that, and it was up, it was running, it was working. And then like the next day, most of the day I was like semi sleepy because it was like it took me till 6 a.m. to go to sleep.
Mm.
So it was done around 4 or 5. I was 5-ish. Then I went to bed, and I couldn't sleep. So I was up till 8:30 because I said, okay, I will be online at 8:30 just to say, hey, everything is okay, and then I can go back to sleep. So I slept from maybe. So I found an issue at around 8:30. Then I went back to bed at 9:30. Couldn't sleep until like maybe 11. Then I slept from 11 to 12 ish. Then I went from showered, went to work. Works till 5:30 p.m. And then maybe went to bed at like 8. And the next day, I hear from somebody at work because I slept like 11 hours after that. Somebody at work said, "Oh well, this is really slow for some reason." I'm like, fart. I'll go and have a look. And it turned out there was something wrong with it because it was really slow. It just sometimes just didn't return a response. It took very long for responses to come back. It's a server process that does domain registration, basically.
Mm-hmm.
It's just overly simplified because there's a lot of different stuff in that API. And for some reason, the responses weren't coming back. I was like, oh, that's weird. I see that the response is being sent back. Huh. And then I looked, and one of the processes on the front end servers for the control panel, which also uses the same API, was like, yeah, I'm at 100%. I'm waiting for a response. I'm at 100%. I'll just keep it 100%. It was slowing down everything else on a different server. So that was fun. And then I spent most of the rest of the day yesterday trying to fix the problem, which turned out to be the framework we use. What I think happened is that the default the default debug mode got switched around, or I didn't pay attention and just copy pasted something. It's more likely that the last thing happened, but
Right.
yeah.
When you do stuff real late and you're tired.
No. This has been live on OTE, on staging. It's been live on the other servers for months, and no problems whatsoever. But the last server that I had to replace the software on was a little bit more busy than the other ones, so I started noticing that thing, and I noticed it there, and I was like, oh, that's weird. So yeah, it was the debug mode. Debug mode was on in production, which was causing it to, as soon as a notice or a warning happened, it would start trying to do a debug routine and try to send out something, and kind of exploded. Some of the services crashed because of it, and and I restarted it yesterday, like at 8-ish, and it hasn't rebooted since. Oh, it was 10 to 10, I think, last night. And it hasn't rebooted since. So
That's good.
Yeah, it was kind of it's a dumb mistake. But on the other hand, if that is the biggest issue we have with that, I'm really happy. It's like, it was a very big project, right? So
Yeah. No, I understand. Especially when sort of the team of one becomes the premise of how things get done.
Well, it's not a team of one.
Right. Okay.
I was just responsible for releasing it, and I did most of the work on the project.
Right. Okay. I was going to say, when there's lots of small things and you are the only resource on it, there are things that can get lost. You forgot.
Yeah, well, we have a very small team, of course.
Right.
But that's also why we're able to do the stuff we do, because we're a very small team, so we're very quick, agile with regards to making new pieces of code, new projects and new products. It's also a problem because there's like not a lot of resources around in case somebody has to do a release in the middle of the night.
Yeah. Yeah, I understand that.
It's kind of a pain. So I've been coming down from the stress of that for the last week, and I hope to not do this again anytime soon.
New year, new decade.
Yep. Yeah, we're hiring some new people as well, so it's gonna hopefully reduce the stress in my corner for a bit.
Yeah, you
Unless we have
hope.
to train new people. Yeah,
Right.
more stress.
No, you always have to train new people. It's just a matter of question whether there's an effectiveness when you train them
Yeah.
after you train them, and
Yeah.
how often you have to keep training them. So, or how deep the rabbit hole goes. So,
Yeah. So I heard you saw Star Wars.
I did. I didn't hate it. Like everyone on the internet
If I
does.
said a clip show, does that make sense to you?
I
I
don't
had
know
I had a
entirely.
feeling during the movie, and I watched it like before Christmas, so it's been a while ago. But over the movie, I was like, "Why is it going so fast?" It's like, "Snap! We have this thing, this thing, this thing, this thing. Let's quick, 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 quick." It's like they had to fit it within a certain amount of time, and then half of it was cut. It's like it felt like one of those. We have to condense everything from the last season into a single episode so we know where we've been. That's what I felt the movie was like.
Okay, so I can get
It
a
wasn't
sense
it
of
wasn't
it.
bad. I
Yeah.
just thought, they could have shown more. I would have been okay with more landscape shots, more a little bit slower, right? It's like the other movies, they took their time. They could take the time with this one, but it was like keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going.
Yeah, I get your point where I can see a sense of feeling rushed a little bit. I didn't have that sense of feeling rushed. However, when you have spent a millennia with this storyline and these characters and every versions of them, the young and the old versions of them, I mean literally, and then the reiterations of the young and old versions of them, the young and the old Luke Skywalker, I mean Ray, whatever, right? Like, you understand what I'm saying, the parallel
In
there.
case you haven't seen the movie, spoilers alert.
I was not doing that.
But you said
That was
something.
not my intention, even though
I'm gonna
you
bleep
now
it.
just wrung it out. That was not, anyhow, do you want me to re-say it? It doesn't
No,
matter.
it's fine, it's fine, it's fine. I'll just bleep it.
So the point is related to it is that we have historically have spent a whole childhood and some a good portion of our adulthood with this storyline. So there's some part of us that doesn't want to rush it, and some part of us that kind of just wants to know what's the goal here. However, they have conscripted us in loving it for all its faults for a millennia.
Yeah. Well,
Right?
I
So
think that it's not a millennia, by the way.
I know, not
Definitely not
literally, but you understand what I'm saying is for
Yeah.
such a long course of time that some part of you is going to feel rushed by every state of delivery. You might say, no, it should have been 4 movies, not one, and then it would be just extending it.
No, I would have
again.
been fine with one movie. It would just take like half an hour longer to go through the entire thing.
Yeah, it would have been nearly. I mean, it was 220, 210, 220.
That's
Already?
not long. I mean, how long did Endgame take?
Well, okay. So you say that, but it used to be when a movie was near 3 hours or over 2.5 hours, people are like, that's a long movie. I guess we live in a culture where people put out 1 hour podcasts, so we just accept that.
1 hour. We're at 31 minutes now.
So we just accept the length of things. We want long extended, pieces of entertainment.
Yeah, no, I understand that, but the thing is, with this movie, it would have been fine if they'd taken it to 3 hours. If they'd done the 3 hours, it's the end of the trilogy of trilogies. It's like
I
the end
suppose, but is it really?
of it. Well, it's the end of the Skywalker thing, right? It's supposed to be
Yeah.
the end of the Skywalker thing, and then I
Yeah.
think that they introduce a couple of new characters and like little Babu Frick dude.
Babu Freak. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, it's fine, but either don't introduce those characters and spend more time with the original cast, get that together, right? Get the entire storyline complete and spend enough time. It was just so rushed. It felt so rushed.
Hmm.
And then
I
there's things that I learn online where there's people saying, "Oh yeah, well the original cut was 3 hours." What?
Okay, so I didn't know that, but one of the things that comes to mind, I was having this conversation with Matt yesterday because we saw it last night, is there's this whole thing where they were with Rey's storyline is, hey, there's a secret about Rey. You just got to wait 2 more movies. Well, 1 more movie. Okay.
Yeah.
Through basically a good portion of the last movie, right? And they were doing that for a whole time, which is my sort of irritation with what's the deal with Rey. And they never really kind of got to a deal with Rey. And now they're doing the deal with Rey. And that's fine, but they were really just sort of jerking us around for, basically 3 movies to get to some kind of conclusion, which is where, to your point, maybe it feels a little rushed.
Well, the whole thing, there's so much stuff that was cut from this movie that I learned about. It's like there's the whole where you hear the voices of the Jedi.
Mm-hmm.
You're supposed to be, you're supposed to see them as well, right? The people, the stuff was shot. The video was shot for that.
Got you.
I'm like, what the? Why did they do this?
So the only little side game I was playing is how much was real Carrie Fisher and how much of it was fake Carrie Fisher.
They reused a lot of old footage, but the part where she lies down on the bed, I think, when she's on the bed, when she's in shadow, that's not her.
Okay. But for the most part, I mean, they were very particular about how they shot that. So there was a lot of like, if they made a digital Carrie Fisher, they did a really darn good job.
Yeah. There was a lot of reuse of old footage.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's kind of, I liked it. Apart from the speed, the rest is fine. It was fine. It was okay. If it was the end of it was supposed to be the payoff for everything.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they paid it off, especially with the debt they went into with the prequels. I think that they had some stuff to make up for, and I don't think they completely made up for it. I just wish it was longer. Just show more of the stuff. I mean, they had characters in there that just disappeared halfway through the movie. Like that character they meet on that planet with the snow that gives them a thing to get into the ship, right? Shows up with the Babu Frick character. It's like, then doesn't show up anymore. It's gone. Right? It's so much. Like they probably had a plan. They probably wanted to make it a 2-parter, maybe. I don't know.
I know that it had some trouble getting off the ground. They had someone to direct it, and then J.J. Abrams just sort of brought in last hour on the whole production.
Yeah, but even he was. I think he was not happy with the thing with what the mouse did. With like his cut is not the cut we saw.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah, so there was a whole thing on Twitter with release the JJ cut. Right. No, it's Star Wars. Let's talk about Star Wars.
It's not going to be. Really, the question is, especially past this storyline, is are they still going to continue to tell us a story beyond that story point, or are they just going to fill in all the gaps prior to that story point? And I think that's probably what they're going to do. So the Star Wars franchise obviously isn't dead.
Especially not with stuff like The Mandalorian. I mean, The Mandalorian is like the exact opposite. Takes its time, does its thing. I thought that The Mandalorian was better than than the final movie.
Well, The Mandalorian also exists in a universe before a lot of things.
Well, it's in between
So,
the two trilogies, between the original and the last one.
well, I mean, you have Baby Yoda, so, I mean, The Mandalorian. So, I mean, he's 50 years old by the time we finally see
No,
Yoda.
no,
We
no, no,
meet.
no, no, no. This is not Yoda. They
Oh, this
call
is
him
not
Baby Yoda. It's
Yoda.
not Yoda.
Oh, okay. So I didn't
Just same
realize this was a
species. Yes.
different. Oh, I thought it was literally because people were calling him Beta Yoda. Um,
No.
okay, so that's where I didn't understand that. Okay, so then that makes more sense because from that perspective, they're like Yoda. Yoda is 50 years old here, but by the time we see him in the movies, he's like 300 something.
No, they just because nobody knows the species of Yoda,
Right.
and so
Okay.
they called him Baby Yoda. I think.
And Baby Yoda is adorable.
Yep. I saw a picture my brother sent it to me. It's like a Mandalorian daycare where they have Baby Yoda and Carbonite. Mandalorian daycare.
Oh,
Wonderful.
that's not good.
Yep. We should call this episode Mandalorian daycare.
There you go. There's your title.
Nope.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think Star Wars. If you would rate them, like, I think that I don't know. I don't really have a favorite. Of the
I don't know that I have a favorite either. I mean, I was as a kid, when I was a young kid, I wasn't really watching Star Trek. I saw the movies, right? So I was a kid of the movies before I was ever saw any of the classic stuff. I was more of I guess, a teenager or a young adult of the TV series when it was Next Generation. So for me, Star Wars versus Star Trek, by the time I had any form of thought or interest about any space odyssey, any kind of TV show, it was more Star Trek than it was Star Wars. So I had seen, both, but I didn't have any exact affinity for either of them. And certainly Star Wars was in movie format. It was not really highly available unless you had like a VHS player and you rewatched it to death.
Yeah.
And that was something that didn't really happen through most of my teenage years. So that was not something I grew up with. If any aspect of it, I grew up more with Star Trek, Next Generation. So I don't really know that I don't know that I have a favorite. I can tell you when they rebooted it, those first three were not necessarily my favorite. I've liked these later movies more than the middle three, which are the first few
the
chapters.
prequels, the stuff that happens before the original original
the original first,
the one with
three
Anakin Skywalker.
Right, yeah. I was not a huge fan of that stuff.
No, I don't think anybody was.
Yeah.
There's a lot of funny, there's a lot of space politics in it, and I think that's what caused a lot of people to, exit.
I think we all believe it could have been better handled. It wasn't so much the story as well as the execution. Under the J.J. Abrams sort of arm of movies, I've been fine. I've been okay with them. I like it.
I didn't like the second one as much. the last Jedi, that was not fun. There was as much chaos and fast speed as the last movie was. I think that the second one, all the fun that was in the first one of this trilogy got undone in the second one, and then the third one had to do a lot of acrobatics to get it back to a position where it's kind of okay.
Yeah. Okay. It was not. I wouldn't say it was my favorite of any of them, really. I mean, I saw it. I watched it. I was in the theater for it. Um, I don't know. I haven't rewatched it. I think I own it, but I haven't rewatched it, since I saw it in the theater. So I don't really have any real strong opinion about it, at least not a conscious one. So.
Okay. I also ditched Netflix.
Oh, really?
And I ditched Disney Plus after I watched The Mandalorian. I was like, okay, I'm done with this. Bye.
Yeah, so
all I have left now is Amazon Prime.
Yeah, so I have those three. I don't have Hulu. I often throughout the year don't have the time, but like we're talking December now, right? So in December, I have or December, January, around this like winter time. Everyone seems to go dead silent, including YouTubers. So my stream of entertainment is very minimal during this time.
Funny how we didn't put YouTube in the list of streaming services, because I do have YouTube Premium.
Well, yeah, I do. I have that too. And YouTube is a daily thing for me, except when it goes light. And then I'm sort of scraping from the barrel. That's when
I just
my
really
impulse
happy
is.
I don't have the ads. That's the only reason I got it, just so I can get rid of the ads.
Right. Yeah, me too. And then the additional part of that is then I go and I look for extra things, right? I look for, okay, so CBS Access, All Access. Okay, great. There's lots of shows that I like that I have seen, but I'm looking for new input. I'm not looking for old input. I'm not looking for nostalgia. And it doesn't mean that I don't get a sense of that every once in a while. And I watched that Thor Ragnarok over the holiday, and I quite enjoyed it. But with that said, I don't get that impulse a lot. Right. And that kind of impulse doesn't come to me that often, where I feel like I have to go watch it comes in the void of having nothing to watch or having few options and have nothing of new input. So, and I'm not one for so needing, I'm not desperate for such new input that I will watch things I know I won't like.
I did a mental math thing where I was like, okay, so what's the last time I actually watched anything on Netflix? A month ago. Okay, so I'm gonna cancel Netflix. Then I saw that The Mandalorian was done. I was like, okay, I'm gonna cancel Disney Plus because I don't want to spend money on this when I'm not actively watching anything. Yeah. I don't want to see all the Disney shows. I'm not interested in that. There's the Star Wars stuff that I could go and watch, but I'm like, yeah. If I eventually come to it, I'll have a look at it and resub on that moment. But for Amazon Prime, I have The Expanse, right, that I wanted to watch. And then there's stuff like Supernatural, and Monk, and all sorts of other shows on there. I don't know. I think that Amazon has more of the original stuff that I actually want to watch, as opposed to Netflix. Netflix seems to be like drying up.
I think there is good content on Netflix, but there's a certain kind of problem with Netflix that, from my own personal taste perspective, in the case of my roommate, he could watch all the crap on Netflix all day and night and be satisfied for millennia. That seems to be my favorite word. Alan's favorite word of the show.
Is he secretly the emperor?
No, but my point is that, like I keep seeing they're like pushing, The Witcher. The Witcher's gonna be crap. I don't want to. It's a crap.
Apparently, it's good.
Crap. I don't think it's gonna be a good show for me. I'm not gonna like it. I'm not watching it. Right? Yeah. But it's like, but it's trending. High percentage of match for you. No, it's not high percentage of match. It's my roommate used my Netflix account and didn't use his profile that I set up for him, and he's watched lots of these things that tell you that I like The Witcher. I know I don't like The Witcher. It's a bad match for me. And there's lots of content on there that just don't care about on Netflix that I know I'm not going to like.
Are you going to cancel Netflix?
So I am not canceling Netflix right away because every once in a while I find a pocket of something. And then I watch completely through it,
Binge.
and And there was something recently on Netflix that I watched completely through, and I can't think of what it is. Don't know. Can't
Didn't
think of
make
it.
an impact.
No, but there are some shows that that there's like a lot of to watch, and I eventually will watch them, but they're just not. I'm not in any hurry. But then what you do is during the summertime they throw out some really good things, and they're still doing that, except the stuff that they're throwing out are things I'm not interested in,
Yeah.
like The Witcher, for example. Just totally no interest. The Ozark, no interest at all. So there's lots of what was there's a whole bunch of them. I mean, I had to go look on it. I could go down a long list of crap I know that's bad television for Alan. So Netflix has a bunch of stuff, and depending on who you are and your taste and your interest, I think there's a lot of content there, and there's a constant set of new stuff coming in. It just doesn't fall into my taste profile. In the case of Disney, there's lots of good content there, especially if you super love Disney everything. I'm not that person. I'm more into the comic movies. I'm certainly going to be more into the Star Wars stuff and any of the, sort of like The Mandalorian. I watch Jeff, Goldblum's take on the world. It's sort of interesting. It was more of what's on the background while I'm Minecrafting. But yeah, I mean, to the point, I wanted to see The Mandalorian. I was going to ditch HBO. I'm having trouble doing that because somehow it's complicated with Amazon. I'm not really sure how. I have to sit on the phone for half a day to talk to somebody to cancel my HBO, because I don't have a need for HBO anymore, though I still have it. There is a show, though, it is coming back, I think, with Hugh Laurie. That's coming to HBO, I think, in this month, if it hasn't actually surfaced yet. So I probably need to check that out. I forgot about that.
Have you watched The Expanse?
I did. I totally watched through The Expanse. I watched through The Mandalorian. What else? There was a couple things that I watched through that I really enjoyed.
What do you think of The Expanse?
I do. I enjoyed it. I actually enjoyed this most recent season. Comparatively. So that's good. It's been a good thing.
Well, I thought they did okay with the book, ish. It's if you've read the book, it's of course everybody who's read the book is going to be saying, "Oh yeah, it's much better in the book." But no, it was okay. They did okay with what they had. I mean, they don't have like the budget of like Disney behind it, right? But they do have Amazon now, but it's still like only the production company doing the thing, not Amazon. Amazon is just distributing it.
Yeah, but Amazon is finally finding some of its footing and producing some pretty good content. Miss Maisel is really good for me, at least. I don't know if that's something you'd be interested in. And everyone was talking about Fleabag. It was not for me.
I didn't.
Totally.
I tried to watch one episode. I was like, "Yep, nope."
I couldn't even get through the first episode. It just wasn't for me. Though I hear it's great, but it just wasn't for me. So it's not just wasn't for me. But they're starting to get acknowledged for good content, not the odd, weird content, the cheap content they used to produce, and they've been producing better and more often better content. So it's a good thing to see Amazon sort of coming in and having better production and better quality and doing better things. And Expanse I would consider is inside of that.
Yeah. Well, they have a lot of stuff on there right now. I think that I like that they have some of the shows that I used to watch on there that I haven't finished the final seasons of. There's like Supernatural, Monk, and some other stuff. There's some CSI and stuff that I haven't watched the final seasons of. I can finally close that chapter.
Yeah, I mean, those are a lot of shows. They're reasonably good shows, just not for me. I'm never going to watch Riverdale and like it. I have a lot of that's available on Netflix that would be commercial free. I have a ton of Supergirl and The Flash and DC Legends and all that stuff to watch. I have a ton of that, and I like them for what they are, but I also recognize that they're a formula. So
Hmm.
I really only need to watch like the first 10 minutes and the last 10 minutes, and the whole rest of what's in between can be
Filler.
just dejected,
Hmm.
and then I could totally get through the series and close out on those things. Um, but for the most part, I mean, they're just burning an hour away.
Hmm. What do you think
So
about the anime that's coming to like Netflix and Amazon and stuff?
the animated.
Anime.
Oh, the anime. Um, so I'm glad that they're supporting it, but some of the stuff that they've been pulling in hasn't been great. Carol on Tuesday is a thing that I wanted to spend some time to watch, but getting me to sort of not want to multitask and sit down and read subtitles is sort of a complicated effort for me. Um, because we're gonna do it tonight, we're gonna do it tomorrow for all the new season stuff, and so I do it so frequently. I just sort of, when I need to find that quiet moment for myself, I don't get there. Um, and then I want to, getting me to stop moving, stop doing things, um, requires my full attention. And Carol on Tuesday, so I'm cool with that. But some of the like nights of I forget
Sidonia.
what, Sidonia, whatever. Like some of
Yeah.
those were okay. It
I
wasn't
I
great
actually haven't
anime
watched any
to
of that stuff on Netflix.
domesticate. So in some of those aspects, for some of those things, I'm like, yeah. I those wouldn't be anime I would watch anyways. But if there's
I'm
a
not getting there
larger
for you.
alignment of things, Amazon's had some good stuff. Um, I don't know how much you would like it because I didn't watch enough of it, but Made in the Abyss.
Don't know.
Okay, so that should
Is
be
it on
available for
Netflix or is it on Prime?
on Prime. It should be.
Okay. What's it about?
Yeah. I haven't gotten far enough into it, but
What is it called?
Made in the Abyss,
As in a maid, the person that cleans the house, or a maid
as in like I made something today.
in the
Abyss.
abyss? Here we go.
Yep. So
It
I think it
doesn't appear
gets.
to be streaming on Prime, so
Yep. According to Bryce, it gets incredibly dark later down the line.
okay.
I haven't gotten to that part. So when he says something is incredibly dark, it probably means I won't like it anymore. But I'm intrigued by it enough as it was in the first few episodes and some of the music videos that I've seen from it. But I've also seen some really dark things in these music videos, so maybe it is something that only has a limited use case of my interest. So,
Yeah, it doesn't appear to be on Prime though, so that's a
oh
bit of an
really?
issue. Yeah.
It was, at least in the U.S. Maybe it's not anymore. But when Amazon had their like anime exclusive subscription, they finally got rid of that. Made in Abyss was on Prime.
Okay. Well,
Is it for
does
you
it,
on Netflix or
no,
somewhere?
no. Well, I don't have Netflix anymore, so
Oh
that's
right,
not going to
yeah,
be a thing.
yeah,
Maybe it's on Crunchyroll or something. I don't even subscribe to that anymore. So
yeah.
I
I do it
subscribed to that
just.
for like a couple of series. I was like, yeah, okay, I've watched it.
I
Yeah,
I did that primarily. I do it primarily for the podcast. So
yeah,
I just don't. I don't find myself having the time when I have time to sit down and watch all the things. But yet I pay for it.
yep, yep,
I
yep.
pay for it because we collectively, it's a resource for the podcast. So
Hmm. So we move on to the links.
sure, you got one.
Sure. Well, first of all the links in this episode can be found at Polymatic.link/show64. So let's put that in at the front. I have a video, lock-picking lawyer. He shows how to unlock an AR-15's lock with
Yeah.
a Lego spaceman. Polymatic.link/RZ. This guy, he's very dry, but like there's some humor in it, and he does
There
a lot
is.
of lock unpicking things, and it's fun. It's fun to watch.
Look, I mean, he's the lock picking lawyer. Can you
Yep.
sense the humor in that?
Yep.
Okay, so I got one. This is a short film. I found like a short film channel They have them on and off. I don't know how legit they are. This one is produced to put out some pretty good ones. Polymatic.link/S3. This is Lazy Susan. It's sort of the untold story of Lazy Susan. I'll leave it at that.
Untold fake story, by the way.
Yes, but it's entertaining, is it not? Did you watch it?
Yeah, it was entertaining, yeah.
Yeah,
At first I was
good.
like, okay, this is taking a long, skip. And then I went back to the beginning because I was like, oh yeah, I missed
Realized you were skipping through a lot. It was very well crafted, let me say that.
Yeah, well, it's, as long as you don't like skip the first part because it's so,
Dry.
yeah, I was like, yeah, okay, I don't want to watch this. This is taking too long.
Yep. Nope. That's how effective it is. Yep. So yeah, Polymatic.link/S3 Lazy Susan.
Yeah. Baby Yoda in Jurassic Park, Polymatic link/S0. Need to tell you anything else about this?
Please stop. Polymatic.link/S0.
Yep.
Okay, so I found this channel because I found this channel because Adam Savage got some video from the father who really runs this channel, and the channel is called Action Movie Kids. So Action Movie Dad sent Adam Savage something, which was brilliant. And so this is just a holiday compilation. Polymatic.link/S4.
He's also the guy that does the kids with the floor is lava type stuff, right?
Oh, does he? Okay.
Yeah. Polymatic link/S1 for Thomas Sundlander's acoustic panels. Yeah, he has a new studio and he's taking out the echoes in his studio, and yeah. I'm thinking about actually doing that here because I have a big echo in my room. And I have some acoustic panels on the walls, but they are shit.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's sort of A-crate ones. They work in very limited cases. They're not... Most people, like, stick them in strategic, and then they make a diamond pattern with it. And it's like, oh, it's cool, and it's really improved things. And I'm like, no, it hasn't. Now, with that said, I know better, and when I've recorded upstairs with, like, the shotgun and whatever, a lav, I have sort of pivoted the C-stand in a direction I know it's going to get reflection, and then I think of it after the fact, and I'm like, it doesn't matter. But what I did down here in the studio is instead of having to put things like that on the wall or buy expensive, panels, which is something I might still do, I just don't want to destroy this, this room here, is I put all the microphones really away from the walls. It's really kind of in a center area of the basement. So that's how we sort of avoid a lot of reflections when we're talking.
Yeah. Well, I just want to get rid of when I have this door behind me open, there's a reflection that comes from the room behind me because I'm talking to a wall, but there are some panels behind, this, which I'm talking into, which does cut down on some of the echoes. But I think that if I were to take these panels out, it would be a lot worse. But I think that I should try to build some of these myself and just maybe see if it works a little bit. They're not expensive to make. I probably can get the items that I want. So, and I'm good with tools, so I should be able to pull this one off.
You say that now.
Yeah. Well, I've taken apart my I've taken apart my makerspace. So I have the makerspace room that I was using as a junk deposit room, and I've gone to IKEA and bought like a ton of these plastic bins, so I can sort everything into the right location.
Yeah,
and I have sorters and stuff lined up, and I'm taking apart all the boxes that I was dumping stuff into, and just taking everything apart, sorting everything into the right bins. I'm really making sure that I get this right for once, right?
Yeah.
And then I'm going to try to stick with it. And I can do that. It's just that at some point, I'm just going to find this bin. Oh, this looks nice. And I'll just dump everything in there. I'm like, I'm done with this. I need to clean this up. Nope.
Yeah. I had a rack over here, and it's meant for me to put stuff onto it, and it just became, piles of various things that I go
and
to.
dead hardware.
No, not necessarily. It's just gear that like, I need XLR cable, I go over here. Oh no, I gotta look in the bin. Oh, I gotta look over here. Like I wanted to do a similar thing, and we have a Container Store in this town. I can't remember that store we went to when we were at Google I/O, and you got a suitcase for your Android plushie. I don't know if that was a Container Store or not.
Afterwards, I thought, you know what? I should have just got some of those Ziploc bags and gotten a vacuum cleaner and just vacuumed the air out of the Ziploc bag, and it would have fit into my bag, my suitcase.
Well, regardless, we have like one of those sort of, because we walked in that place, and I was like, this is interesting. This place is pretty. I'm sure I could spend too much time in here and too much money. Oh, and I don't live in San Francisco, so it means nothing. But then there's a similar store that showed up, and they've been showing up in other places called the Container Store. And so we have one in King of Prussia. I've never gone over there, and I'm sure if I go in there, I'd spend way too much money with the idea that I'm going to organize everything. And then I will likely not do it. Not do it right away. So.
And are they like good prices, or is this like just expensive?
I don't know, but we had a store in the mall where it was like a Container Store, but it wasn't like a good price Container Store. It was like meant to be, we're slightly fancier than IKEA. Organizational unit store. We sell organizational unit thingies.
Who gives a crap about that? I mean, come on. You're getting stuff to sort stuff. You don't care about, it's more exclusive. No.
Yeah.
No.
Well, some people do care about those things being fashionable and cute, and it looks like a piece of furniture they can stick in the corner
go into a room
near
nobody
the
ever
door with your, where you put your shoes, and it sits on top of your. Some people care about that stuff, and there are stores.
Oh yeah,
for that.
And then the people have the money for it, and that's
sure.
fine. But I go to IKEA and I spend maybe $5 total on a 60-liter bin.
Yeah,
with,
I mean,
with
I
the
know
lid.
IKEA has stuff too. I just haven't gone over to either of those places in any recent days to go with that thought to go try to organize all the stuff. I got a rack at IKEA, and I brought that home and I built it. It was kind of a pain to build because the way IKEA stuff is. And because there's a whole lot of nothing to get it to, and I didn't want to drill it to the wall. Because I don't want to destroy the basement here. I can't imagine I'm going to live here forever, though I say that 10 years later. So anyhow, we went off on a tangent.
We start with acoustic panels, end up at IKEA.
Yeah.
Well, that always happens, right?
Yeah. So that was Polymatic.link S1. And because I saw that John did that, I figured I would share with John Gerald Undun's exact more recent video on this. Or I don't know which one's more recent, but I know Gerald Undun did a video very recently on a similar topic, Polymatic.link/S6, where he goes in and he has a long conversation about do-it-yourself, panels, where he did it himself. And then he also sort of upgraded by somebody in Canada that also sort of does that professionally. And, given the price on that, you can get a pretty good one for $75. But the problem is, what you don't realize is that you're going to need a lot of them.
That's why I'm going to go to the DIY store and just do it myself.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just looking around me. I would need at least 2 in front of me, 2 behind me, and 2 to the side of me. And I think that would be what I would need to be able to even do that. And I might even need a 3rd on the door. But see, I'd have to you have to drill these things into the wall, right? So unless I own the house and the environment, right, it's kind of a problem for me to consider that. I don't even think about what's above on the drop ceilings. So I could probably hang them from the drop ceiling. So I need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I need another 7.
Oh, okay. Wow.
So, I mean, that, right? What did I say before? 6, 7. I need 14, right? times 75.
Yep.
Yep.
It's
Just
more
to get the
economic to build them yourself.
maybe. Yeah. So anyhow, I think it's a pretty good a guide on the conversation. I thought it was interesting. Something I never really considered too much. If you have a smaller environment, it makes a lot of sense.
Okay. Next one is Internet Historian No Man's Sky Goodening or something like that. Polymatic.media/S2. It's about the story from how No Man's Sky went from hype to it's garbage to everybody is now actually kind of playing it again. Even me, I've been playing it for a couple of hours now. It's actually pretty fun.
Yeah.
It's actually, when the first time I played it, I was like, oh yeah, is this everything? I got to the space the between systems travel, and I was like, yeah, that's not going to be fun. And I got the base building. I was like, yeah, it's not going to be fun. But now it's actually, they have more of a story, and yeah, it's actually pretty cool. And Internet Historian is also a very interesting channel to watch. There's lots of like stuff that might annoy you, or it's like
that video was awfully long, and
it's
I found
long,
it
but
annoying.
it's funny. There's lots of funny stuff in there.
I don't know. I found it more in the area of annoying.
In this case, you should skip like the first few minutes, but then it gets started about the whole story behind Sean Murray and how he's a bit of an introvert, so it's hard for him to communicate, and that I can totally see that. Anyway, Polymatic.media/S2. It's a long video.
Yeah. And then I have a playlist. The Age of AI. This is sort of a YouTube. I guess it's YouTube Premium. I don't know. John and I both have YouTube Premium, so it's a YouTube original thing, but it might be available publicly. I don't know. It does include Robert Downey Jr. He's sort of the narrator of this. I liked it. It's pretty good. There are some areas of when they go into a particular topic, I forget what it was, somewhere later down the line, I kind of skipped a little bit. But there are multiple sort of segments in each of these, 20-minute things.
34 to 44 minutes, yes.
Yeah, and it's good content. I enjoyed it. I was enjoying it, regardless of whether I had any knowledge on the topic or not.
Well, yeah. Well, that's Polymatic.media/S5.
Yeah.
Yep. So, Alan, where can they find you?
If you have to, you can find me on Twitter. I don't really say much there. Twitter.com/CHAESS. That's my last name.
You can find me on Twitter as well at WebDevy, WEBDEVVIE. For feedback, you can reach us at podcast@Polymatic.media. The music is by Say Uns, which you can find at Polymatic.link/EK. Our Twitter is The Polymatic. Our website is Polymatic.media. And I hope you tune in next time.